a minute or two to show up, maybe less than that. They can catch up. We'll do a bunch of loops. I want to introduce myself again. I'm Ben Macklett, Popple Tree Creek's farm. Let me try that over. Popple Tree Creek Farms. We grow American elderberries on our farm in northern Minnesota. We make value-added products such as elderberry syrup, soon-to-be gummies, herbal tea blends with elderberry and elderflower infused honey. The sky's the limit with everything we do has elderberry or elderflower as a base, somehow, some way, or another. So I'm going to go ahead and kick off today. We're going to kind of do a 101 elderberry, and then we're going to talk a little bit about why American elderberries are better for you than European elderberries. We're not going to dive too deep into this. We're going to kind of keep it upper level because I have a deeper one planned. I have kind of a mini series planned for the dark side of European elderberries. Subtitle: Why Cheaper Isn't Always Better. So anyway, so spill the beans on that one. We're going to talk about intro to elderberries. As always, I have my cue cards here to keep me on track. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. If you're rewatching this later, please comment on the rewatches too. That helps me gather those, do a little homework if it's something I can't readily answer, and then get back to you. So yeah, let's get started. Elderberries. So people have been taking elderberries for a very long time, right? Thousands of years. People such as Socrates, Aristotle, all these old, philosopher. What do they call them? The philosophers were doctors back then. Forget the name. Anyway, they always called elderberries nature's medicine chest, and nothing differs today, right? They still grow in the wild, or in my case, on my farm, and people can still utilize them for health benefits. Small batch products. So yeah, we're going to talk about elderberries, why people use them, and why American elderberries are different, or, in my opinion, better for you than European elderberries. So what is an elderberry? And I don't have the quick pop up here. Maybe I can go and edit that later for the rewatchers. But it's a small cluster of berries, or it's a big cluster of small berries. It starts out as a flower in the shape of an umbrella. That's why they call it an umbrella. And it turns into these little itty bitty berries, clusters of hundreds of little berries on an umbel or an umbrella shaped cluster. They're dark black, almost dark purple, almost black, and they're very, very high in anthocyanins. I see some people are joining here, so I'm going to go ahead and just do a quick recap. My name is Ben. I grow American elderberries on my farm here in northern Minnesota. We make value-added elderberry products. Tonight we're talking about what elderberries, kind of elderberry 101, what elderberries are, general benefits, and then we're going to go into, at sort of a higher level, why American elderberries are better for you than European elderberries. So yeah, they grow in a caning bush. Most of the time, when people grow them commercially, they heavily prune them, so you get new growth every year. That helps to combat some pests and age-related issues with elderberries. But you don't have to. If you're growing it at home, you just kind of let them do their thing. The old canes will fall off, and the new canes will grow up. They're a real fruit, right? Elderberry is a little berry, about 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch, depending on the variety, that grows in a cluster of hundreds of little berries in an umbel-shaped cluster that produces a dark purple, almost black. Hey, thank you. How's it going? Purple berry that is full of anthocyanins, health benefits, antioxidants, all that kind of stuff. So they're real fruit. They're not a lab-created ingredient. We're not making a pharmacological supplement. This is a nature-made supplement that we make. that people, a lot of people make from elderberries. Their deep purple color tells you they're naturally rich. So just a side note, if you're out harvesting elderberries and you see some of them are a light purple or green, those ones aren't ready. You don't want to eat those. You want the ones that are really, really dark and rich. And then we'll do another video on harvesting elderberries and growing as we get closer to that season. What to look for, what to do, what not to do, all that type of stuff. Again, if anybody has any questions about anything I'm saying or anything in general, please just blurt it out in the comments, and I will answer away. Oh, I forgot to get my live up on here so I could see the comments better, but I'll do that right now. Okay, so another thing elderberries aren't is they're not magic, right? So I see a lot of creators on this platform and others touting, and I don't have a bottle. Oh, I have a bottle of mine right here. Touting their elderberry and saying, I don't want to say it about mine because then YouTube might zing me. But they get online and they say this is going to cure that, or this is going to cure that, or if you take this, then you'll never get sick again. And it's just not the case. These aren't magic. These are a very important tool to have in your toolbox as far as health and wellness. Elderberries are very high in antioxidants, and a broad range of antioxidant compounds are responsible for a majority of the broad-reaching benefits that elderberry can provide. There's a lot of good research going on for elderberries for brain health, for skin health, super high in antioxidants, heart health, blood pressure, blood sugar regulation, cold and flu prevention and treatment. There's a lot of good research out there for that as well. But to say by taking my product you're never going to get sick again would be a lie, right? So the goal is, when taken as a preventative, elderberries work best, but they also work as a treatment. A lot of the research shows that they can shave some time off the front end and the back end of illness, and they can reduce symptoms. They can reduce them for some people so much that they don't notice them. For others, takes them down a few notches. As far as not experiencing illness, some people very successful with elderberries to miss a cold. Some people feel it, they just don't feel it as much. It has a lot to do with you as well. If this is the only thing that you do for your health and wellness, then you're probably going to be disappointed with elderberries because they're fighting a losing battle. So you want to take care of your body as well. And people always say, oh, you run an elderberry business, you should never get sick. And I say, no, that's not true. I do get sick, but I do when I'm smart enough to take this at the right time, or if I'm on travel when I get sick. I was smart enough to take it with me if I had, I take it in risky situations when I'm going to be exposed to a lot of people or something's going around. But I usually get sick. I do a lot of customer-facing events in the summer, spring, summer, and fall. Not so much in the winter, but the spring, summer, and fall. And whenever the first events in the spring, when they're still indoors, and I've been at home in northern Minnesota, and I haven't traveled for 90 days to anywhere else in the country, and I'm exposed to people from a whole different geographical region, especially if it's one where there's a lot of travel, I usually get sick. So I try to load myself up before, during, and after. Sometimes it helps me avoid the experience. Sometimes it just helps me tone it down. And then again, the fall is my big risk when all the shows move indoors from outdoors, because that's the start of cold and flu season, and that's when the people are always looking for the elderberry guy. Unfortunately, a lot of times they do it when they're sick. And so I'm handing samples out and talking to people face to face. So it is not snake oil, but it is also not a magic pill. It is not going to cure all your ills or your woes. You still have to take care of your body. And it's important to make sure you get the best elderberry possible. We'll talk more about that in a little bit later. But you want to get something that's made from real juice, it's fresh as possible, and it's as potent as possible. Elderberry content is very important as well. General benefits, we kind of went into this a little bit. And rich in antioxidants, and traditionally used to support the immune system. Um, they they're not an immune booster. It's easy to say, and I use it in marketing sometimes too, because sometimes you get tired of educating for a little bit and you just want to give a message. But a lot of people use it because, hey, how's it going? Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. Yeah, I don't know that elderberry is going to help you a lot with that. There's some inflammatory response issues, but you might want to seek a physician for that one. Their elderberries do have their limits. Um, so anyway, traditionally you support your immune system and overall seasonal wellness. So they are more of an immune supporter or immune modular. Basically, the one of the best ways I can explain it is they help your body make good decisions in regards to the processes or the mechanisms that your body already has in place. If your body needs inflammation to help, fix something, or reduce inflammation to help, ease inflammation, fever, up or down, blood pressure, it's a good modulator, right? So it helps your body modulate these functions the way you want them to do. And the immune system is the same. Cytokines is a big word that people used a lot for a while, especially in regards to elderberries and illness. And one thing to cure one myth, elderberries cannot create a cytokine storm in your body. Cytokines are a very broad range of compounds in your body that they're like messenger signals, or they're kind of like the workforce of the body. Some create inflammation, some reduce inflammation, some create fever, some reduce fever, so on and so forth for a lot of the function of your body in regards to your immune system. And the myth was that you take elderberries, it's going to boost your immune system so much that your cytokine storm is going to happen and it's going to overload your immune system, and then you'll get sicker. So there's no research. There's actually research to the contrary that what elderberries do is they help you modulate your immune system. They help modulate cytokines to keep them in control. They help your body, sort of keep it all together. Very antioxidant rich. Have almost 3 times the antioxidants that blueberries do. Seasonal wellness. So really popular in a bunch of different forms. Of course, elderberry syrup, like the one we make here at Popple Cherry Creek Farms, is probably the most popular, I would say, seconded by gummies, an elderberry gummy. And so I'm going to talk about this part a little bit. If you're buying a product, whether you're buying ours or somebody else's, it's really important to look for elderberry in the ingredients. Ours has 9.5 grams. That might be backwards. So anyway, you can look on the website. You look on the website when you go buy some. We'll ship it to you for free. Anyway, we have 9.5 grams or 9,500 milligrams per serving, and that's pretty much. So a lot of studies are done in different ways, different dosages, different frequencies. This is when you kind of take the broad and you try to align with as much of the research as possible. This is in line with the research on the benefits of elderberries. Anything less than this, if you're talking about how's it going, what's up, Brookie 6 S67, how's it going? If you're getting much more than that, you're really, you got to look for how much you're paying and how much you're getting. And in regards to elderberry, it's not necessarily the size of the bottle that you're paying for, but it's the amount of elderberry that's in it, right? Most of them are full of water, overprocessed concentrates, rehydrated berry juice or powders, stuff like that. You want to look for something that is made from real fresh pressed juice, and then has as much elderberry as possible. Like I said, ours has 9.5 grams. You want to be somewhere around there, whether it's gummy form or elderberry syrup. Now, I'm not saying the ones that have, say, most elderberry products on the market have, oh gosh, starting, I'd say if you had to pick an average number, probably 20% of the elderberry that's in there at best. Um, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm just saying they're not as potent. So you have to look at what you're spending for what you're getting, right? And it's not the size of the bottle, it's the size of the elderberry in the bottle, right? Or the amount. So here's where things get a little confusing, right? Because one, I just talked about, you gotta read labels to see. I just Yeah, it is night. It is nighttime. Yeah, I live in northern Minnesota, so it gets night pretty easy. Uh, I'm just trying to read some comments here. Um, yeah, I know, crazy, right? Um, what was I saying? That's the thing about the lives. I draw a blank all the time, especially when I try to read comments and then back to here. But so we talked about get out, say it. Woo, woo. Anyway, we talked. I just talked about elderberry, right? So that's a blanket term, elderberry. Then I said, it's not so much about the size of the bottle, but the content in the bottle. And now we're going to talk about form, right? So our elderberries here at Popple Tree Creek Farms, it's always made with American elderberries, fresh pressed American elderberry juice. That's what goes in the bottle. 99% of the products on the market use European elderberries. Most of it is reconstituted from rehydrated berries, where they add a bunch of water to it. All of them have a different recipe on how much water they put in it. Some do the math to make it equivalent, but very, 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 very little. A lot of them come from reconstituted powers. The underlying theme that European elderberry products have is they're all over processed and they're diluted. If you can find me one that's on par with a fresh pressed American elderberry product, I don't really care to see it because I make this one, but I will be surprised. Now, if you say, well, they have fresh European berries too, and I say, okay, yes, they do. And if I was in Europe, that's probably what I would go for too, right? Then you'd see the overprocessed American berries that got imported that cost a lot of money. But we're here in America now, and we're going for the localer, shorter shipping distance, lower processing, fresh pressed juice quality. So that sort of segues into freshness and processing, right? One of the biggest differences is freshness. Our elderberries were harvested this fall. They were destemmed, they were washed, they were rinsed, they were sanitized, and they were frozen. Then they're juiced, they're made into syrup and put in a bottle. European elderberries, 99% of them come over on a pallet in a bag of dehydrated berries. And so you have some processing there. The temperature it takes to dehydrate the berries is somewhere between 135 and 155. I've gotten documentation both when I was buying European elderberries. And you don't really know what the date is because they'll send a date, but I've opened a bag of elderberries and seen two different date stamps a year apart in age. Oh, that's awesome. I have two dogs. I have a not a German Shepherd. I have a St. Bernard Pyrenees mix, and I have a Labrador Commodore mix. If you know what a Commodore is, it's that dog with the long dreadlocks. Husky Golden Retriever. Nice. So European elderberries come over, dehydrated in form, and who knows how long they set. One of the problems we got out of the European elderberry business was quality. A lot of the bowl bags would come over, they would have mold in them. Some of them were still kind of tacky. Some were super, super dry. So there's a lot of consistency issues there. And they're just not fresh, right? They're dehydrated. They've been sitting in storage for a long time. They got shipped 7,000 miles over to the United States. And just like olive oil in Italy, Europe is not sending us their best elderberries. They're not sending us the grade A berries. They're sending us the seconds. and that's what we're getting. And that's what 99% of the people you see selling elderberry syrup on social media platforms or in the store. They're buying the cheapest form so that they can make it and make the most money. That's not what we're interested in. We're interested in a long game that's educating people on elderberries and producing a high quality product. So here you have that. Dried over shipped long distance. Less oxidation over time. So any fruit that is dried, stored for long periods, and shipped across the world, there's more opportunity for oxidation. So ours get frozen and they're encapsulated. We hold them at about 20 degrees below zero. From what I'm told, with the lab testing people have done, at 20 degrees below and colder, you're good for 3 or 4 years. Our berries, I will be struggling come harvest time. We don't use anything older than 1 year old. So our berries are always very young. They've obviously not gone through the heat stress and the drying stress of dehydrating berries. Here's another secret about 3 in the morning for where you're at. Man alive, it's 8:30 at night here. Here's another secret about dehydrated berries. So all elderberries, when they're harvested out of the field, they are destemmed, they're washed, they're sanitized, or washed, rinsed, sanitized, or whatever, and then they're frozen because elderberries will perish or they'll rot within 24 to 48 hours. Maybe you might get 3 days out of them in refrigeration, but they're really a delicate berry. So everybody freezes them. And then when they want to dehydrate them, or when the dehydrator is empty for the next batch, they thaw the berries out. Well, you can't just stick those berries in the dehydrator because it'll be a mess. Because once you freeze an elderberry, a lot of juice comes out. So what they do is they put the berries in some sort of container or bag and drain the juice out that comes, and then they dehydrate what's left. And you get a certain percentage of juice that you've lost. Now they take that juice and they use it for other products, but the berry that you're getting that's been dehydrated is down approximately 15 to 20% in weight. So it's lost 15 to 20% of its juice, if that makes sense. Transparency, right? I can show you any day where I get my berries. And a lot of the American elderberry producers can do the same thing. I have videos on my social media. I have videos on my website, pictures. We do tours. You can see not only where I grow my berries, I do partner with some other farmers and buy berries from them. You can see the farmers I get my berries from. So it's all very transparent. We do a lot of videos on harvest day. We do berries on dehydrating day. We do bottling day. We do a lot. So you can see it all firsthand. We do a lot of live videos as well during the farming season. With European elderberries, you just don't get that. And there's some differences in standard too. So a lot of the European elderberries come over here as certified organic. Well, the hard fact is European organic standards wouldn't pass American organic standards, because a lot of elderberries coming out of Europe are wild harvested, and we'll talk more about that on the dark side of European elderberries video series that I'm going to do. But they allow wild harvested along roadsides, near farmers' fields, all sorts of stuff. So they could be exposed to all the herbicides and pesticides and fertilizers and everything that organic certification would disqualify. But because they went out and wild harvested them, then now they're organic. Where in America, you can't wild harvest organic elderberries, just for that reason, because you can't control, or you don't understand what the farmer or what the roadside, every roadside in the civilized world is sprayed with a noxious weed herbicide. in America, and especially in Europe. They have a lot of farming in Europe too, especially where elderberries are grown. Most of them are grown in the Ukraine and in Poland and in other parts of Eastern Europe. Fewer middlemen, right? So imported berries are often passed through all sorts of people. You got the guy, the family that goes out and picks them, or the farmer. They have to take it to the processor, to the broker, to the shipper, to the to the receiver, to the marketer here in Europe, and so on and so forth. And there's a whole long chain. When you buy from somebody like me, I grow it, I bottle it, I sell it. So there's a lot there's a shorter supply chain. There's a lot less unknowns in there. If something goes wrong or goes right, I know exactly where to go to find out deeper, richer flavor and color. So let's see if you can see this. See how purple that is? Just if you're bored, go on social media and search in elderberry syrup and look. In 99% of the people that have a bottle like this, it might be a different shape bottle or whatever, you won't get this purple, right? You won't get all that purple. What you'll get is a browner color, almost a pruny color, and that's the indicator that you're getting elderberries made from rehydrated European elderberries. You see how mine kind of sticks to the bottle too? That's also proof that there's no water in there. 99% of the ones, it jiggles around in the bottle. It looks just like water because it's 99% water. In plant foods, deeper color often correlates with higher levels of naturally occurring polyphenols and anthocyanins. Those are two of the powerhouses, right? The blue fruit, blue fruit compounds that make blue fruits so good for your health. Anthocyanins, overall antioxidant load, right? That can help your body combat a lot of the stresses. Polyphenols are phenomenal. I might do a whole series only on polyphenols. Polyphenols are a workhorse as well. If you think about a virus, you think about getting sick or not getting sick. A virus, we all know they're kind of a globe shape. Hello, how are you doing? Not made John Doe. How's it going? I should loop around. Before I talk about polyphenols, I should loop around, introduce myself. I'm Ben. I'm an elderberry farmer. I live in northern Minnesota. I grow American elderberries on 35 acres in northern Minnesota. I make value-added products. Everything we make is based on elderberries or elderflowers. We make a range of healthcare products. Elderberry syrup for your immune system. We make some elderberry freeze-dried snack bites in a few different flavors that are wonderful. Those taste really good. Elderberry infused raw honey. We make some whipped tallow infused with elderflower. Yes, I do. I sell elderberry products, specifically elderberry products made from American elderberries. So okay, back to, unless you have some more questions. Well, thank you. Polyphenols. When we talk about a virus, we know it's about a circle, about a globe-shaped thing, and it's got a bunch of receptor sites on it that when they go into healthy cells in your body, they connect and then they replicate. They make new viruses, and this is how we get sick, or one of part of the picture anyway. Polyphenols, what they do is they bind onto the receptor sites on a virus, and they reduce the amount of opportunity it has to bind to another healthy cell and then replicate and then make you sick. So if you take up a certain number of those receptor sites with polyphenols, then that virus has less a likelihood to be able to replicate. And then your body can do its job and produce an immune response and keep you healthy. That's how I say elderberries aren't an immune booster, they're an immune modulator. They help support your body. Whole fruit versus powder. Right, so many imported products start as powders or concentrates. That's right there. So how long have they been in storage? How much heat did they were they exposed to? How were they dried? How were they macerated or milled or ground or whatever? 99% of the elderberry products that you'll get come from dehydrated European elderberries. I I know some of it comes over here as concentrate, but most of it comes in the form of dehydrated elderberries because they're lighter, and so shipping is cheaper. And then they're processed here in America. But the age of the actual berry is really unknown. The the manner in which it was dehydrated, storage. That's another thing. When I was buying dehydrated European elderberries, oh bummer, Malaysia. I would love to go to Malaysia. It's beautiful there. I've gone by there. I've been to where did I go? Um, Singapore. Been to Singapore, or not Singapore? Yeah, Singapore. Anyway, um, a lot of times the bags, they weren't sealed anymore. They had been punctured. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. We're doing great. We're trudging on. It's winter here in northern Minnesota, so there's not nearly as much farm work to do. It's all social media and website and stuff like this. I got about 2 more months off before, when I say off, I do a lot of craft shows and vendor shows and trade shows and stuff like that. They all start in about March. So I get 2 more months off, but I still work 12 hours a day. A lot of the times I would get bags, and they weren't airtight. They were punctured somewhere. They get hit or bumped or or whatever. So there's air exchange there. And so if a bag's sitting somewhere, able to exchange air, that's not good because it's going to suck in humidity. When it's humid, that's how you get mold. Oh, we sell, oh gosh, we sell about 15,000 bottles of elderberry syrup a year. I don't know how many off the top of my head, the other products we make, but we sell a lot of elderberry infused honey. That stuff's really good. We sell a lot of tea blends. So yeah, it's pretty popular. So in whole fruit versus the concentrates, the powders, all that, whole fruit is always going to be the better option. A close second to, fresh pressed whole fruit is freeze dried. As long as you're not freeze drying and then storing it for 10 years and then selling it to somebody. But freeze drying is the next best way to lock in all the nutrients. But again, fresh frozen juice is always the best. Traceability and accountability, we kind of talked about that with transparency. When you buy from an American elderberry producer, such as myself, I'll show you, and I because we want to brag about it, right? I want to show you my elderberry field. I want to go, I want to go out and visit my farmers that I buy elderberries from. I want to visit their farms. What does the elderberry do? Stick along, I'll explain it all. We're kind of going through that whole process. And maybe this is a good time to loop back through anyway. The benefits of elderberries are basically health and wellness. They taste really good, but people have taken elderberries for thousands of years for health and wellness. They can help support your immune system. They're really good at helping your body control inflammation, help your body control blood pressure, blood sugar. They're good for skin health. There's a lot of research going on for brain health right now. They think there's some early studies they've done that show that elderberries can help not only prevent cognitive decline, but help repair cognitive decline. Super, super high in antioxidants. Some people take it solely as an antioxidant or an anti-inflammatory supplement. Some people take elderberries daily for cold and flu prevention and treatment. There's a lot of reasons people take elderberries. I hope that answers your question. Oh, scrolled the wrong way here. So traceability and accountability, right? We talked about that a little bit, but you know where, when you buy from an American elderberry farmer such as myself, hopefully you buy it from me, but there are plenty of good ones. Um, you know where they came from, because I want to show you my farm. I want to show you my partner farmer's farm. I want you to introduce you to these people. I want to see their fields so that you feel comfortable buying my product. You know where it comes from. The same thing can't be said with the European elderberries. Quality control from field to finish. Right? So we have really strict standards here in America. We really don't know what their standards are. Um, I know the finished product that we get, and a lot of times they don't scream tight quality controls to me. I know a lot of the pictures I can find of their processing equipment and their workers and the hygiene of the whole situation don't scream quality and transparency to me. And I know how rigorous we are here in America to make sure we're sanitized. We're not, it's also sanitizing in harvest too. You don't want to introduce diseases to your plants. So you have to go through protocols for your plants as well. And then the rigorous, washing, cleaning, rinsing, sanitizing steps for the berries so that, when they get into the freezer, that they're all good, clean, and sanitized as well. You're also, if you're buying American elderberries, you're supporting American agriculture, right? So we live here. We want to support agriculture here. It's better for our country. It's better for our agricultural system, but it's also close. You know where it's coming from. The people are accessible to you, and it keeps the food dollars closer to home. Designed for real food. American elderberries work beautifully in real food. Syrups, teas, honey, not just capsules, but we also have those. We freeze dry elderberries. So this, like I said, this is the most popular form, elderberry syrup. Gummies are a close second, but I have a lot of people now asking me about elderberry pills, right? Because they travel. Gummies are good for travel, but a lot of adults don't love the gummies. They want something they can just quick swallow. And so we have freeze-dried elderberries. What we do is we freeze-dry fresh elderberries, then we grind them up in a blender, and we put them in a pill, and then you get them. We can do some blending with different complementary herbs too, so that's kind of neat. People enjoy. But you can also cook with elderberries. There's a whole culinary world to elderberries. You can put them in food, and if you're focusing just on the health benefits, you obviously want to worry about time and temperature exposure, the elderberry. But if you're not, they still have wonderful flavor to add to dishes. But it's really easy to keep them still beneficial for your health in a lot of cooking, because when you look at degradation of nutritive benefits of elderberries, it's all about temperature max and time. They can touch boiling for a little bit and be fine. They can even go a little higher as long as it's not a long time. But even if you do, they're still good in a muffin, right? That muffin, the inside of that muffin doesn't reach 350 degrees like the oven is. They make a slew of drinks, both adult and kid-friendly beverages. Live brain blank. Salad dressings. Add to yogurt. There's many ways to add elderberry into your everyday life. So if there's anybody that has any questions right now, we're gonna kind of loop this up. If you don't now and you want to go and rewatch this later, think of some questions, or maybe you're just waiting. You don't want to be, the pressure of being on live. Ask a question, engage with the content. Don't forget to like the live. Subscribe to our channel. There's going to be a lot more information like this, a lot more in depth. We have a whole series of elderberry educational informationals planned. We are moving. We hope to be in there already, but we're moving into a new 40 by 80 facility on the farm. Hopefully next week. If everything goes well with the plumbing inspection and the electrical inspection next week, we'll be moving over there. So you'll see a lot of content from that, both on our YouTube shorts. We're going to start producing some long form videos out of there. There's an office. We're going to make a podcast studio out, all centered around elderberries, regenerative and sustainable agriculture, stuff like that. So let me see. Did I miss anything here? Oh, I print this twice. So yeah, that's what we got for today. Elderberry 101, good for your health, good for your immune system. Not a magic pill, right? You still got to take care of your body. And we kind of went over why American elderberries are a better choice for your health and wellness your health and wellness dollars than European elderberries. So thank you for staying. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, please put them, whether you're watching this now live or during the rewatch. Subscribe to our channel and have a good night.